Hello and welcome to the second podcast now that we're hosting here at GottaBe. So welcome to Marketing Goodies by GottaBe. My name is Thomas Dill. I'm the Managing Director and the founder of GottaBe. And today we're going to be talking about promotional merchandise, promotional branding, and all these things that we tend to get when we're visiting exhibitions, events, or even during experiential events. Brands tend to give out, whether that's pens, branded bottles, or most recently, even goodie bags filled with plenty of goodies inside. So as the name really suggests, we will have plenty to talk today. Join with me today is an expert in the world of promotional marketing, Emma Campbell from Etc. Branding. A very warm welcome to you. Hello.
Thank you very much, Thomas. Thank you very much for having us.
Thank you. So the world of marketing is changing, continuously evolving. We've recently seen that obviously we're getting Hello. You could expect everything, couldn't you? But you could not expect that the internet is going to go down on me. Right. That was a good start. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to start this again. Now, hopefully this time around I'm not going to have internet issues.
No worries, no worries.
God,
Try
this is
Ep2.
Yes, absolutely. Gosh, this is embarrassing. A very warm welcome and good afternoon to you all. Actually, let's just start this again. A very warm welcome to all of you. This is the podcast run by GottaBe, the Marketing Goodies by GottaBe. In the marketing, we're continuously seeing new evolvements in terms of technology, but also the pandemic recently have thrown things a little bit into spans, and we've got a number of things kicking off right and left and center. Events industries are very much different to how they used to be, and we're going to be talking today about promotional merchandise, things that we get given at events, exhibitions, festivals, but also as part of experiential activities. Water bottles, cotton bags, pens, what are the cool things that people really want these days? I have got an expert who's going to be joining me very shortly to talk about this. As I'm sure you're aware of, promotional merchandise not only look into the actual merchandise itself in terms of goodies, but it could also be promotional wear, or as our expert will show and talk to us in a minute, it can involve into much bigger things. We'll find out shortly what is that. So first of all, let me bring you and introduce you to Emma Campbell from Etc. Branding. A very warm welcome to you.
Hi, Thomas. Thank you very much for having me.
Welcome to the Marketing Goodies by GottaBe. Today we're going to be obviously talking about promotional merchandise, what's hot right now, and what's out there happening in the industry. Obviously, pandemic, the COVID situation has thrown a massive span into your works. How you guys are coping with everything that's going on out there right now?
I think, to be honest with you, like any business, it's very much trying to adapt to the times, look after our clients, embrace obviously new clients. And to be honest, I think like anybody else, stay positive, and keep going. I don't think we've got a huge amount else that we can actually do other than stay positive, adapt to the times, help our clients adapt to the times as well, and really go with the flow. There is so much that is out of our hands at the moment, that I think if we can just be as adaptable as possible, then hopefully we can help other businesses and ourselves keep building and growing and to get through this very difficult time.
Thank you so much for that, and thank you for the introduction there. Obviously, I wanted to sort of kick off on the top hot things that are out there in terms of merchandise, the cool, trendy things. We obviously seen a huge number of promotional merchandise over the years, sort of coming from further afield, whether that's China or other markets. Where are these sort of top things coming from? Who's the kind of inventor behind them? How do you get to also to know about them?
Well, to be honest with you, I think it's a real amalgamation of various different areas. I think there is obviously retail-led, what is going on in the retail world at the moment. You've obviously then also got social and global issues. Pandemic obviously has had a huge influence in the direction that merchandise has gone. And then you've also got, throughout the world, but particularly in China, innovative new items coming on. There are so many creative minds out there that are working to constantly either improve existing products that we know are popular, that work, developing on those, but also bringing in completely new things. As a business, for us, it's very much led by our network, that we spend a lot of time getting to know the suppliers, who is FedEx, what is the background, and sorry, I said FedEx, I meant SEDEX. We spend a lot of time getting familiar with our network, because without that understanding, you've got people out there producing the same pen, but the quality can be totally different. There is no catalogue that's going to tell you one is likely to break in 2 minutes, the other will last a long time. And that's what we need to know. And that's where we need to have a really good understanding of our network, of who to use and who maybe not to use, so that we can really give the best possible product and experience to our clients.
Perfect. And you've just mentioned sort of, or almost answered my next question, which is, do companies tend to consider practicality of the promo merchandise, or do they just go for the quantity over the quality of it?
What? Sorry, Thomas, it absolutely varies. It can be such a staggering variation, to be honest with you. You've got to understand that obviously we deal with people within businesses of all different levels. So there are companies that take their branding incredibly serious. They have a lot of budget that they allocate towards their marketing. And that won't just be promotional merchandise. That can be a whole range, of various ways to market themselves. So they will have very strict, very detailed brand guidelines. They will normally be, although budgets have always got to be considered regardless of the client, they will be very much focused on the bigger picture of the demographics they're trying to target. But also from another angle, sometimes it might be an administrator that is tasked with getting together some merchandise for an event. So they won't have brand guidelines. They won't understand what vector artwork is, and so that's one of the reasons we offer such an account management led service to our clients, because people say about, what is hot, what is not. And it really depends on our client and the demographics of who they're trying to target with this. What are they trying to get back in return? So for some people, they just want the cheapest pen out there. But Tina and I always try and dig deeper. That is where we can really add value and make a statement with merchandise, and really allow the merchandise to have the true impact it can have. I'm sure you've, run numerous campaigns where, by doing a very tailored product, the results and the engagement you've received from that have been far greater, and the return far greater than if you just went for the cheapest pen from the Far East and left it at that.
Of course, totally. So going back to my previous questions, what are the hot 10 things right now? I mean, aside from PPE,
Definitely PPE at the moment. It's a question. Do you know what? It's a question I actually generally would. I say avoid answering. It's not. That's not true. I don't avoid it, but it is something that what works for one client with their demographic, with their brand, won't necessarily work for another. So we do always try and say, forget what's popular. What do we want to achieve with this branded merchandise? And then we can help guide and advise. Having said that, obviously at the moment there is a global pandemic and PPE has been huge. But as well as the sort of standard, face masks and anti-bac, we're also seeing a great rise in promotional items that actually have antibacterial integrated within them. So pens within, antibacterial surfaces rather than just hand sanitizers. We're also seeing new products come out that key rings, for instance, that you can, I don't know if you've seen them, you can actually have them on your keychain, but it can be used as a touchpad for bank cards, things like that, to avoid contact where possible. So we're seeing new things being brought in the world of PPE as well. Tech items are always going to be up there, I think. I don't think I can see a time when they won't be popular. Obviously, again, they're evolving and developing all of the time. And then you do have your classic items that appeal to wider audiences. For instance, water bottles. But again, it used to be a standard plastic water bottle. It's evolved, it's developed. You now have water bottles with speakers in the bottom, or water bottles with a separate section where you could put your key if you were going to the gym, things like that. And then you've obviously got products like cotton shoppers. They're always very popular. They're used by everybody. And obviously now it's led by things that are going on with the world. Supermarkets avoid giving you plastic bags now. Yeah. So there's a lot of that, but we always try and tailor the top products to you and your demographic so that you actually end up with something that is hot for you rather than just being hot.
You obviously mentioned about plastic, and obviously prior to the whole pandemic, most companies were trying to get rid of plastic. Recently, we've obviously seen a little bit of increase in plastic back to life in terms of the sort of dividers and everything else that they're being used for. But now I would like to touch base on the obviously promotional merchandise and the environment aspect. I know there's obviously a lot of companies out there that want to ensure that the merchandise that they're giving away are biodegradable or eco-friendly. Does such a thing exist, and how rare or how common potentially is this, and can we have most things biodegradable and eco-friendly, or is this just a selection of products?
The answer is yes. The industry as a whole is definitely becoming far more eco-conscious. I think businesses throughout the globe really are now focusing on it. Biodegradable is still a relatively new thing to the industry. So what we're seeing is constantly new products coming on that are biodegradable. What we tend to have in the beginning is you might find that the branding areas on a biodegradable product aren't as big. Because again, it's the early stages. These things take time to refine and really become what promotional merchandise is today. Having said all of that, biodegradable tends to come at a bit of a premium at the moment, and obviously it's the best option if you can afford it. But what we are seeing, and we're encouraging clients, there are so many other ways to be more eco-friendly without just having to offer a biodegradable item. We use a plastic supplier, and they're UK-based business. So again, you've got to think about the carbon footprint by buying, British. But also, they only use UK recycled waste to produce their items. So again, the UK, the waste, what they do with that, everything is made from UK waste. So that could be things like yogurt pots, milk cartons, that sort of thing. Their factory partly runs on solar power. About 30% of their production is all made by the solar power generation. And then all of the items are recyclable. So even though you might be receiving a plastic fridge magnet, it's actually got a real story behind it, and you're actually doing something very eco-friendly in some respects. So I don't think you always have to go down the route of it needs to be biodegradable. The other thing that can be slightly misleading is something that's biodegradable can also be biodegradable under certain conditions.
Of course.
Now, to Joe Public, it's biodegradable. It means, if I stick it in the garden, it's going to break down in no time. So I think it's really about getting the message out there with your branding as to what you're doing and really letting people know about what you're giving them. So when you do get the opportunity to explain that actually this is not only made from recycled waste, it's fully recyclable, it's made in the UK, you've got so many elements you can also discuss, and your brand awareness can be recognised for what it's doing for the environment without just going down a biodegradable route. But what we are also seeing is new things, notebooks being made with coffee granules, used coffee granules. There's all sorts of new things that are coming on board, which, we love with our mailers. We tell our clients about, but again, we try and tailor it with an account management side so that if a new product does come on them, we think that would be great for our client. We try and understand our clients and what they're doing with their brand so that we can actually come to them with new products as they come on the market, so they can be proactive rather than just reactive.
Great. And I suppose the other question really that sort of links to this whole biodegradable and eco-friendly is also the methods in how these things are printed or manufactured. So have you seen a sort of noticed an increase in the sustainable production methods in terms of how things are being sort of, whether it applies from the printing perspective or whether that's from the production in terms of how it's actually being made? I know you sort of briefly touched on his answer, but if you could just add a couple things here, that'd be wonderful.
Absolutely. There's definitely an increase. Is there room for improvement? Always. I think there always will be with these things, but we are seeing an increase in different methods. People are looking at, more eco-friendly inks are used. We've also got things like charges are coming in on polybagging items, to try and cut down on that. We're finding that items that previously had polybag now have bags made of cornstarch for them. We're also seeing discounts in terms of pricing if you were to sea freight as opposed to air freight an item. So there are steps being made continuously, but we also do have to take into account the same with businesses. Sadly, nothing will happen overnight. It's going to be a gradual process, but I like to think we are making, huge strides in not only the products being more environmentally friendly, but obviously the way they are produced, the methods that are being used, factories going more solar panels, or we've got other factories that run off energy produced by a local river. So those sorts of things all have a huge impact, and the more everybody keeps trying to make these small improvements, I think it will just keep getting better and better within the industry.
That's great, and it's great to see that things are moving in the right direction. Obviously, the promotional industry is worth billions right across Europe and, of course, worldwide as well. Are there any particular sectors or businesses that you see more orders from than others? I mean, I know obviously the promotional industry, like us, experiential agencies, promotional staffing agencies, use these things on a day-to-day basis. predominantly prior to COVID. Obviously now it's a bit limited. But are there any other industries that you see that are sort of leading in number of orders, and also, potentially other markets that you would like to see more, and actually wanting them to jump on this bandwagon of actually promotional merchandise and maybe biodegradable and eco-friendly giveaways that they do with their customers?
I think at the moment, today we've seen a rise recently in orders from IT companies, telecommunications companies. That is obviously driven by COVID, people working from home, having to adapt to the current situation, obviously healthcare companies, things like that at the moment. But I think it's very much, it's a wave, and it picks and drops for different industries. I think, huge corporations obviously appreciate the value and understand branded merchandise and what it can do for their business, for their brand awareness, client retention, all of these different ways in which it can help. I think for us, we'd very much like to spread the word more about the different ways in which promotional merchandise can help a business. I think there is a lot of smaller businesses that, although these are very difficult times at the moment, I feel like the country as a whole is also looking to support the smaller businesses and the smaller business community that are maybe really, very much struggling at the moment. So it's really to get out the word as to the ways it can help. I know I hate nothing more than when I get a phone call and it's like, oh, I need a giveaway item. And it's like, don't give anything away. What do you want in return? What are we trying to generate with this? It's really to get an understanding. And, I've joked with a few clients. It's like, oh, if you're just going to give something away for the sake of it without any kind of return, give away money. Everybody loves money. Give away money. But if you're actually wanting to introduce people to your brand, what do you want to say? Are you looking at driving new clients in? Are you thanking existing clients? Like, what would you like to do with this? Then I think that's where we'd really like to get the word out, that it doesn't just have to be an events giveaway. We've seen an increase at the moment as well in actually specifically orders for, and it's definitely going to be going off, I believe, but welcome backpacks to people that are coming back to the offices. Companies care about their employees, and when the furlough scheme started, we had a lot of orders for wellness kits. So whether that would be exercise bands, hydration bottles, take a break and have a coffee, these sort of things to let people know that they care. And then obviously going back into the office environment with the restrictions that are in place, we've been doing lots of lunch boxes, coffee flasks, reusable coffee cups, that sort of thing. So it's really just, I think for us, we'd love to get more word out there that there is so many ways in which merchandise can support and help grow a business without just being for events.
Of course, and you've sort of mentioned this, that obviously we've got Black Friday coming up. We've got things like obviously Christmas and various other celebrations coming as well. And obviously with different ethnicities celebrating different events, there is of course also a potential around sort of other seasons that might not be mainstream events but are supported by others, such as Diwali, which is obviously a big event for the Hindu community, or most recently we've obviously seen Jewish New Year and things like that. So there's this is opportunity for seasonal gifting as well. Do you tend to see a lot of inquiries for like a one-off gifts from companies as well as sort of regular ones?
We do. I wouldn't say there's a huge volume, but quite often, whether it's an awards time. They're looking for lower quantity, maybe higher quality, something more bespoke than a generic item. We also do see sometimes companies will tier their merchandise. So it depends who the target is by this merchandise and what's the purpose. Is it a thank you? And thank yous are always lovely to get involved with.
Absolutely. At the beginning, in my intro, I've mentioned about something big that you guys got involved. And I'm not talking about big from the perspective of as a company, but it's also a big from the perspective it's nice, chunky, heavy, and very luxury. So as part of Etc. Branding, you also own Etc. Yacht Branding. I mean, how does this fit with the brand and what is it all about? Tell me more.
Well, in my previous life, I was actually a chief stewardess on board large super yachts. And my job was to run the interior department. So I would have a team of girls, predominantly, sometimes boys as well, but predominantly girls, and we would run the interior of that yacht. So I worked around the 60 to 70 metre kind of range. And my job was to, for want of a better word, make it epic. Every single guest, whether it be an owner or a charter guest, they need to have the best time on board. Our standards excel anything you would find in, a 5-star hotel. We are aiming for 7-star service all of the time. And it was my job to make that happen and to ensure that, the guests had the best time and came back, time and time again. Obviously, it's a huge, billion-dollar industry itself. The boats that I worked on, they could charter for sort of about $500,000 for a week. So for me, it's going above and beyond. It's really having the foresight of what might make this even better for them. And one of the things I had difficulty with was actually luxury products. Obviously, there are so many luxury brands out there, many of which we would have on board. But when you're talking about the kind of value of money involved, we want clients obviously to come back to our yacht, not charter another yacht next year, year for their holiday. And there was nobody that could offer me any quality branded products. And obviously for the super yachts, you're not looking for a plastic pen from the Far East. You might be looking for a Mont Blanc or something handcrafted for the guests. So when I left the industry, and we set up Etc. Branding, we also set up Etc. Yacht Branding. So I help a lot of heads of departments with their branding requirements. So that could be things from turn down gifts. We do a lot of luxury handcrafted bespoke leather goods. We do one-off items maybe for an owner on the launch day of their yacht. We do things that make the experience more fun for the guests. We do games for the kids. We do branded yoga mats. I mean, we do branded surfboards, wakeboards, you name it. These days it can be branded. And so that's actually how it came about, was from my previous career. But it stood me in really good stead because I think service is something that you can't compromise on, particularly in today's day and age, and hopefully in both areas, the corporate world and also the super yacht world, Etc. Branding still delivers, a 7-star service for its clients.
I mean, I was never expecting this, so I've definitely learned something today. So it's definitely, a world to be discovered. And this is what we're really hoping that the series of podcasts that we're producing is going to introduce something new, give an inspiration to others. And, who better than someone like yourself who's had a previous life working on these boards and obviously knows this market inside out. And obviously your business partner, Tina, I know sort of her previous lives always been in promotional merchandise. So what a perfect duo you've got there.
Absolutely. I think we're very fortunate. We complement each other well, and it's been a really interesting process amalgamating the two, and actually it's helped, you know, both sides has really helped things thrive and enabled us, I think, to give the best service and the best offering to our clients.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you so much for being part of today's Marketing Goodies by GottaBe podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I've loved it.
I hope you've enjoyed it. I know it's your first ever experience of podcasting, so it's great to have you. And hopefully it's just a starting point for yourself in the podcasting world. So thank you so much for being part of it. Obviously, you will be able to hear more in terms of marketing related content coming up on our podcast very shortly. But that's it from today. Thomas Dill, once again, thank you so much to Emma Campbell, the director of Etc. Branding Limited. And of course, we do encourage everybody to check out your website, www.etcbranding.com, for further information.